Anitya ma'am, you can go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Tiago sir, maybe you could stop sharing the screen also. Good morning to one and all. Welcome to another day of awesome learning and celebrating architecture in life. Today is going to be yet another day of immense information that will ground you to your passion in this field. We have a very interesting topic ahead in this session. And before that, we will have our dear Dean sir give us a few words. Welcome, Dean sir.
Very good morning, everybody. It's nice to be here today once again. Thank you so much for the moderator, organizer, and everybody. Thank you, Dynamic Raja, for having us here. And I'm sure we are nearing the session, by the end of the session. And probably another 2-3 days time, we are closing it up. And we may get into the examinations. I really don't know. I'm slightly getting stressed up. Let's see. Thank you so much once again for that. And I was informed by the organizers that today we have history of architecture. People are talking about the Indus Valley civilization, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and whatnot. That's something great. But anybody here or everybody should understand what is our history. Without our history, we cannot grow. And what are we today? Yes, it doesn't have any meaning. For instance, we know our parents. Probably we know our grandparents and also great-grandparents. Then before that, we know many of us don't know the roots. Where did we come from and what is our DNA? And where were we earlier? No, how did we branch out? For somebody here, I'll tell you something. Definitely you are branched out the DNA of Rajaraja Cholan or Rajendra Cholan or the creators, the master creators earlier, like Shah Jahan, Leonardo da Vinci, or any great sculptors, painters, creators of something of that kind, without which that DNA, you cannot be here. You would have aimed anything else, but life takes you here because of this process. Please believe in it. So that's the idea of having the history. In history, when you talk about those epics, like Ramayana, Mahabharata, or any other histories, whatever we have come across. For example, Rama, our teachers have taught us how is Rama. Rama is a very good person. He is pious, very nice. How is Rama? No, he's a very bad person. He's a villain. Exactly, it is not like that. It is all how you look at it. Anytime, Ravana did not make any mistake. He is so good, so disciplined. He is a very good disciple of Lord Shiva. And he is a very good musician and very good cook and very good king. And he conquered the whole of Sri Lanka very well. And there was not even one single problem anywhere. And for some simple complaint made by his sister, he fought for his sister, came to India and took that madam and arrested her. All he has done only for his sister. Even then, he has not touched. He did not do any damage for anybody. How can you call him as a villain? But this gentle Raman, of course, he was very nice. We don't say no, but he missed out. He lived along with all the animals, so-called. That's what the history says. No, the squirrel, the monkey, the elephant, the Jadayu, or whatever you call, all the history he carries and crosses through the Sedukarai from getting into the Sri Lanka and took that madam. Until the end, he is not able to live with her because somebody said something, so it was dropped. And Lavakusha came up. All this history says. So you just tell me anytime what is the mistake of Ravana? What did he do? Right? The same way you talk about Lord Krishna, because he is Surya Putra. He is born out of Surya, and he doesn't know who is his parents, and he was taken up by Duryodhanas, and he was given equal status in that kingdom, and he has grown as a big Talapati, and he's he gives just like that. Even left hand he gives because that timing is also very important. He doesn't want to get any compromise. So to take it in right hand and give it, if anybody is there left hand, no, he wants to give it straightly. So that is the kind of philosophy he had, right? Again, the Krishna, again another very great inspirer. See, in Ramavadaram, every time the Ramar did not show that he is avatar of Lord Vishnu, and he also undergone all the process of the human or mankind. But in Krishna Avadara, every time the Lord Krishna says that he is God. He is God. So that's the difference, the transformations. So here, what I'm trying to tell you is, nobody is right and nobody is wrong. Lord Krishna is right. Lord Karna is right. Lord Arjuna is right. Lord Rama is right. Lord Ravana is right. Everybody is right on their own platform. It is all how you look at it. For which you should convert yourself like a child. Have a child in you. Extend the child in you. And if you have the child in you, I'm sure the childness will extend and you will experience life. The child will go anywhere. Either he doesn't know Rama, he doesn't know Ravana, he doesn't know Karna, he doesn't know Kumbhakarna. It goes everywhere. So as an architect, if you have a child in you, you go everywhere and become another Zaha Hadid, another Charles Correa, another Mies van der Rohe, or another Louis Kahn, or anybody. So as an architect, we should understand, experience life, understand the reality. No, we can create master architects, master creations, what more than what our ancestors created. Believe in it, definitely we have a DNA with us. That only made you to be here. And I was telling the child in you, yes, you have. See, from your preschool or even from your birth till probably around 5th standard, would have drawn all these sketchings or renderings or whatever, paintings or anything. Even your dance or music also, your keyboards, everything would have done through your mother or father. But after from 6th to 10th or 12th, that kind of experiencing things or celebrating that life or the child in you, probably, I don't know, maybe a doubtful. But again, we are coming back. You take your pencil, your sketch pen, rubber, scale, brush, paint, and anything. You start doing everything. You go back to your childhood. You're bringing your child within you, and you go to anybody, either it is Rama, Krishna, Kumbhakarna, Karna, anybody. You go, you understand them, create history, create marvels. You see, Google and see all kind of beautiful documents created by our people, like Sun Temple of Konark. Even this Rameshwaram. No, Himalayas, Taj Mahal, Tanjore Grisha Temple, or any other historical, even the place of Mecca, everything's so beautifully made. You see the Velangani Temple, it is all a spiritual place. We are not here to talk about spiritual, it's a belief, let's say. Let us not touch into any religious aspects or any spiritual aspect, but as an architect, you should get into those places to understand what is that the client really need. So because you're a creator, you're the God, you're the Vishwakarma. So you will definitely create, you have to create, you will create what others need. So you should have the child in you, you should experience the life. Unless until you experience life and what does that other gentleman wants, whatever caste, creed, culture, and religion he belongs to, and whatever country, or even you can also design a space in Mars and Moon. That's also happening. We have already plotted plots in Mars. I really don't know whether you know it or not. You please Google it and see. So that's how it is. Like, let's appreciate and enjoy life. Let's experience and celebrate life, and let's live life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Your Ravanayam was so interesting. And yes, the whole topic is revisiting history like a child to better understanding the cultural and philosophical contexts of architecture. Let us give the mic on to our dear hero Shah Rukh Khan, our dear Professor Raja.
Okay, it's already Dean sir has actually clarified everything to you, and he wants you to be the child because we are all actually going to be children, and we will be revisiting our forefathers. That is what we are actually going to do today. We are going to revisit our forefathers. As Dean sir correctly put it up, and he has really said it very clearly, there are aspects of architecture. The storytelling of history might be wrong, but the storytelling of architecture is not wrong, because architecture stands as an example or testimony for the thing which has already happened. It is very important. The testimony of buildings, the testimony which the buildings are saying, are talking about a beautiful history of those people particular time. It talks about the technology, it talks about the tradition, it talks about the culture of those people who lived in that time. See, that is what this history is actually telling. History of architecture is full of testimony. Say for an example, if you go to the pyramids of Egypt, or you come to Taj Mahal, then you realize the technology which they have adopted are so bigger than our concepts. The ideology which they had, the culture and tradition and the workmanship which they had is replicating towards the history of architecture. That is what we're actually going to learn. As Dean sir correctly put it up, we are all children. It is a search, coach. In Hindi, they call it coach. The search, in Tamil, they call it actually. The search which you have to actually put in, the words in all the languages for this search is so beautiful. Because it is always, we want to know who was our actually forefathers. 4 generations back, what were we? Who were we? Where were we living? This is all the search which we have done. We wanted to know, like, was I actually, with Cleopatra at that time? That is the question we ask. Okay, maybe I am also a little dark and I look a little bit like Cleopatra. So maybe like somewhere around in Egypt, I might have actually talked to Cleopatra. Hi, Cleopatra. Might have actually, I might be actually the ancestor of mine could be Cleopatra. Now, this is the storytelling of this history. The storytelling actually happens. Maybe in our textbooks, the storytelling is not being said very properly, but the storytelling enhances architecture. It enhances the beauty of architecture's wonders. In the entire world, everything gets collapsed. Everything actually goes wrong. The tradition, the people, the cultures, the legends, everyone goes. Yesterday we were talking about, black people dominating, today white people dominating, tomorrow what will happen, we'll not know. The Jews were once actually the slaves with Egyptians. Today Jews are actually the kings of the world. So the history actually changes, but the wonderful buildings which they have built is showcasing, they are actually showcasing a testimony to the world by saying we are very, very good in our craftsmanship, we are very good in our technology, we are very good in actually our culture and tradition. Let us go to the slides and we'll actually now work on it. I'll be taking a little bit of a time today for the history. So they celebrate life today. Today is the day we have to celebrate life because we are actually going to search a beautiful thing. Can you see? All of you can see? All of you can see? Moderator, please.
No, not yet, sir.
Not yet. Just a minute.
You can start up the slideshow.
Yes. So today is the day we are going to celebrate history. We are going to celebrate the life of people who actually lived. We are going to actually search what are the materials which they have used to create those wonderful monuments, and we want to know about that learning. Nata actually asked lots of questions in aptitude of architecture. So you actually, like today, 40-45 minutes which you are going to actually spend with me is going to actually give you a great knowledge in answering the questions which is going to put up in Nata. You have to learn. I have taken this history from the starting time and I'm actually going to end with the contemporary architecture. So I'm trying to actually cover the world within 45 minutes. How well I'll be covering that, I'm not very sure, but I'll try my level best to cover it actually. This is History of Architecture, the Bannister Fletcher, which they call it. It's a big book. When I was there in my college, I used to actually sleep with this book because this book used to be so big. Now I realize that, how much of a content which is there in this book. Okay. So day 8, we are actually going to talk about history of architecture. First, I'll actually talk about the River Valley Civilization First of all, the known civilization in our world were river valley civilizations. Those river valley civilizations have given the edge to the world, to the people. We were actually thinking that we are scientifically and technologically so improved, but the people 4,000, 6,000 years back were living a beautiful technology altogether. They had wonderful technology to build. When the building can actually be so technologically advanced, how will their culture, tradition, and food would have been? This is actually the Indus Valley civilization. I'm just going little fast to just try to actually find it. This is Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and Lothal in Indus River civilization in Pakistan and India. The main material which is there in form is actually brick. Today we are actually talking about the fired bricks. That day itself they were having this brick as a material of construction. The Great Bath, if you see, people have actually translated from a stone to a pebble to a sand. This is how the transformation happened with from a stone to a concrete. But here they have used brick. They have understood the concept of brick. I used to actually tell a story, but I have no time for the story now. The Great Bath, you can see that people are actually, today we are all actually talking about swimming pools. That day itself they have made a beautiful swimming pool. And the changing rooms today in the ghats and all the places, we don't have separate, even changing rooms. The changing rooms are not so beautiful. But here, the water is actually getting inside the city, and the water and the sewage system has been done so beautifully. The entire city has been planned. Today, we are actually studying architecture. In architecture, we study urban design. Urban design is about making a city. Now, in that year, that means around 6,000 years, they have made a wonderful city. This wonderful city even had a great bath. Indus Valley civilization is our first one. Second is our Egyptian civilization. You all know about Egyptian civilization. To bury a person, they have created a wonderful tomb. They actually try to understand the geometry, which is absolutely, impeccable, because it is not easy to actually put up this pyramid geometry, which is stable. But, it is very difficult to actually build this kind of a huge wonder. The huge wonder had lots of treasures also inside. It is just for a king. Just imagine a king had lots of people, laborers to build this wonderful technological craftsmanship and technological building with lots of good craftsmen. This year, seeing like Great Pyramid of Giza, the mastabas are the graveyards. The Abu Simbel temple, which has got this beautiful temple, which is there in Egypt, and great temple of Amun and Karnak. The river which this Egyptian civilization provides is actually River Nile. It's famous for its pyramids and temples. Material of construction used to be the limestone, sandstone, and the granite. You please note these things: limestone, sandstone, and granite. We will be actually talking tomorrow about metamorphic and igneous rocks, and we'll be talking about the quality of the material tomorrow in building construction and material. You have to actually find out which material is being used in which places so that it has enhanced the craftsmanship of that particular place. Question number 1, we'll actually quickly do this. Why are we studying history of architecture? To know the past techniques and technology, or to know about the tradition and culture, or to know about the techniques of the religion? I request everyone fastly pull it. I think most of the people are sleeping. 10 people. Bolini, yes, somebody. You want something? I have no time, Bolini, Amrita. I will talk to you later, okay? River Valley civilization. This is Sumerian and Mesopotamian. This is called as the Dravidian civilization. It actually...
This is the result, sir.
This is a River Valley civilization. Yes, ma'am?
The results, everybody saw the results, right?
Yes, everyone saw the result. They all said that it's all of the above. It's absolutely correct. You have said it absolutely correct. You are bang on. River Valley, it's all about tradition. It is all about technology and everything. The River Valley civilization. Next is about Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization. This also calls it the Dravidian connection in between. The river Euphrates and the Tigris, the twin rivers which are there, they are actually making the Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization somewhere in Iraq. And famous for pyramids and temples. The material of construction that time itself was brick. The architectural style is called the Achuade. The use of arches, the use of arches has been done in this place. And the domes and the walls has been done in that time itself, almost around 6,000 years back. this has been done. Ziggurats. This ziggurats of stepped artificial mountain of bricks on top of which is located a temple. They actually wanted to connect the god with the sky. So they always wanted to point towards the upwards, So they wanted to create these kind of wonders to showcase the people that, everything is absolutely going well. When the wonder is created, it is that people are actually really beautiful state of mind. There are lots of money. The richness is alive in that place. So the palace of Sargon at Khorsabad, palace of Persepolis at Persia, Babylon, Urnamo, all these places where you can actually find. You have to go and search also. You have to find out, what are the other materials which are available for this river valley civilization in Sumerian and Mesopotamian civilization. We have actually heard about the hanging gardens of Babylon. And here they've used glazed polychrome brick murals. The brick murals, as we see in our caves, the cave man is actually creating lots of beautiful murals. Here also, the people are actually making murals. This is actually a step forward for our sculptures, all that. Greek architecture. So we actually leave our past, that is 4,000 years back. After that, knowingly, architecture talks about the modern world of architecture. That is Greek architecture. Greek is the architectures. The modern world started from Greek. As all of we know that, Olympics and everything is actually started from Greek only. So the modern world adopts the techniques of Greek architecture. Today also we follow lots of techniques which are actually, there is an order. There is a proper order of actually documenting the things. Architecture was also started getting documented from Greek architecture. So Greece is the location. The classical style of Greek architecture is columnar and repeated style. The urban civilization actually happened. That means the cities are actually started forming. See, this is a very important thing because the villages were the source of elements. Even in Indus Valley civilization, though Harappa and Mohenjo-daro are called they were like cities, but they had some kind of a village kind of an environment. Here in Athens, you find a modern city altogether where people actually have lots of places for enjoyment, and the temple is actually making an important thing. There is a processional path. They will be talking about the development of the city. In later part of your architecture in urban design, you will be actually learning all these things. But for this agora is actually called repeatedly in Nata. That is called as a market square or a city center, agora. Stone and marbles are used. The marble is extensively used in Greco and Roman architecture. Form and proportion. So very important. Today we are actually, yes, we have actually seen form and proportion. The determination of form and proportion with the scale, with the dimension, with the documentation actually happened with Greek architecture. It's famous for its sculpture. There are beautiful sculptures which are made by Greco people, and that is also through marble. Because of the whiteness of the entire marble, it gives a great look. In our part of the country, we actually have granite and sandstones, but here in Greek, we have this beautiful marble sculpture. This is Parthenon, which you have seen in Athens. It is a temple. You have seen this. There is a column here. There is a column order also they have actually made. One column, they'll ask this question: Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian column. There are three important columns. Doric is a very simple pattern. Ionic, you can see the top and the base is there. And Corinthian, you have some decoration of Asantha leaves and all that. And you have the base in the bottom also. These are the column orders which you actually find. This is theater epidaurus. This is the amphitheater kind of a amphitheater which we are using right now. The yearly amphitheaters of that time, so that the people actually can get entertained. Next is the Roman architecture. This is your tutor, Mr. Raja, is there in Pantheon Temple and Colosseum there. The centered around Rome and spread across the world. The classical style is called, this is a classical style we call this Roman architecture. Roman architecture still we use those arches and arcudes we use actually today also. We use those columns today also. So Roman architecture has been a father of architecture for the modern world. It actually is they call it civilization is born in Greek and Roman places. Rome is a beautiful place. Rome actually does not have any It does not close at all. It's a beautiful city. The whole world actually reaches to Rome. That is what they call it. It's a beautiful Rome there, where we actually do it with stone and marble. The form and the proportion of the column has been established much better from Greek architecture to Roman architecture. Famous for sculpture. You must be knowing about this horse races which are happening in Circus Maximus. And you might have actually seen this film, Gladiator, where, you know, like, just imagine, in this Colosseum of Rome, the seaters are seated, and you have the underground, underground where they keep elephants and tigers. There is no elephant and tiger in Greek Europe, actually. There is no elephant and tiger. They actually brought everything from Asia to Asia and Africa. Just imagine that time through ships. They have actually, brought elephants, tigers and lions from Asia and from Africa. So this is the Colosseum of Rome, which we actually see. It's a beautiful place where, with this Gladiator movie, which you might have seen in your life. Okay, this is the Colosseum of Rome. It's an example for future stadiums and future sports complexes. Okay. This is the Christian architecture of Romanesque, which we call from 1000 to 1200 AD, Christian architecture. Okay, Christians were they were actually, the early time of Christianity, they were really afraid of people. They could not spread Christianity. They were the words of Jesus. They could not actually talk to the people. So went to the graveyards. They used to actually stay in the graveyards. The graveyards used to have a central hall. On the sides, they used to have these burial places. The people used to stay in the burial places. Then when the prayer starts, they come into the center hall. The same kind of concept they have adopted when they got little bit of money, and the entire church is actually started growing. This is a Christian architecture, early church architecture. The best Romanesque building which we can see is the Pisa Cathedral and the Baptistery. The Pisa Cathedral, the campanile they call it. The bell tower is called as a campanile. You have this, your tutor, Mr. Raja, is actually trying to hold the Leaning Tower or Pisa, and the wooden churches which you actually find in Romanesque architecture. Next, we actually talk about the Christian architecture of Byzantine time. Byzantine architecture, what actually happens at the time of Byzantine, there is a king called Constantine. This king called Constantine he adopts into Christianity, and the Istanbul, we call it the Constantinople, is the point where Europe and Asia meets, okay? Europe, Asia, and Africa meets at this point, like this is Istanbul. Istanbul is the place where actually, everyone wants to dominate so that they can actually go to the Silk Road and they can trade very well. So that is the place where that is conquered by the Constantine, and that place was called as Constantinople, and he adopted Christianity. Because he adopted Christianity, the entire scene of the church architecture has changed. The Christian architecture grown in a multiples, and they started actually making this beautiful building. This is Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque of Istanbul, where you can see the intersection of domes happening. You can see the clear story windows which are there inside. We can see those pententives. They call these pententives because, to support a larger circle, they actually took a brick pier, and this one is called as pententives. You actually learn about pententives and screenshot in your Google search and find out those things and send it to me in the group. Okay. This is St. Mark's of Venice. Raja sir is there in Venice and driving. He's going in this boat. And this St. Mark's of Venice has actually the golden plated inside. The mosaics of Hagia Sophia are so beautiful. They were very crafted well. The mosaics of Hagia Sophia, they call it glass mosaics. So the marble mosaic and glass mosaics are the very important factors of Christian architecture of Byzantine time. The golden works of cathedrals actually happened in St. Mark's of Venice. They say when one packet of 100 grams of pepper reaches black pepper, which is from cardamom, and black pepper from India, when it reaches Venice, you can actually get 1 kilogram of gold. That is the kind of value India had. They all wanted to search Venice. They all wanted to search India. Venice was a port where, you know, like this quarantine is actually being done from Venice only, because when the ships come to Venice, they quarantine people for 14 days. If they don't have any problem, then only they allow them to inside. They allow them inside Italy. Okay, next is the Gothic architecture. Now, church is growing so big. Church is having lots of money. Lots of, yes, sorry. When we get actually lots of money, then first thing we actually do, we actually make wonders which showcase that. Actually Christian architecture is also showcasing that. Gothic architecture starts from France, that is called as French Gothic. This is the Notre Dame of Paris, which is, you know, right now, you know, recently it got fired, it catched fire, and, you know, most of the rose windows, and they are trying to renovate it now. This is Notre Dame of Paris. You can see those beautiful rose windows there. And the one is called as, this one is called as spire. This is called as the pointed arches. Then you have the flying buttresses and the spire. The spire is the conical shaped one which is there. In later part of your church Gothic architecture, you will see this two spires there, and you'll have small spires also. This is the gargoyle. You'll see in Jesus, they were actually there in the graveyard. Now they started making big buildings. Now they're keeping satanic versions as a gargoyle where the water can fall. You know, what is the kind of, you know, the money is actually making people in a different way altogether. This is Westminster Abbey of London. That is also a Gothic church. So you have to actually identify. Whenever you see a church, you should be able to identify with Romanesque architecture, Gothic architecture, Byzantine architecture, and all that. So that is what is being asked in NATA. So you have to be very careful. This is called as the flying buttresses, which supports the entire structure from outside. This is the flying buttresses, a very big topic. When we actually come to our architectural classes, we'll be reading about it. So we'll just leave it to this place. This is Christian architecture of Renaissance. Renaissance means it's a revolution. It's a new thing which is actually happening. So the Renaissance is a beauty which actually happened, where art, culture, gunpowder, printing machines, everything happened at the time of Renaissance. So the architecture also has grown, because architecture grows with Renaissance. In other churches, we actually see the Florence of Romanesque and all other churches also. You have to study. You have to actually find out about other churches also. You do it in your Google. This is because, you know, out of time, we are actually running with, you know, very important lessons, which is, this is La Pieta by Michelangelo. We all know about Michelangelo. Is a great sculptor. And this guy can see this beautiful sculptor, you know, the detailing has been done so beautifully in this Renaissance period. You can see Mother Mary as a very young girl, because she is actually holding a body of 32 years old Jesus Christ. You know, he has died. But this Mother Mary knows that this guy is going to rise and he is going to save the entire humankind. That is the reason why she has a smile inside, but her son is dead, and she is having a sadness of that also. Because she is a Virgin Mary, that face has a beauty in it. So Michelangelo has put up all these things inside and put this sculptor. This La Pieta is a very important sculptor, which we see it in St. Peter's. Your tutor is there from St. Peter's. You know, you must know that this guy knows all these things. Yes, I have visited all these places. This is St. Peter's, Rome. This is a Peter's Square, where Peter is actually, you know, assassinated or killed. The next one is the Last Supper, which you have seen, of Leonardo da Vinci. So you can see this one-point perspective has been done beautifully by this Leonardo da Vinci. So this is what the Renaissance is all about. The Renaissance has given a new leaf of life to our generations, to the modern world. Modern world will still follow Renaissance, and we are all actually of you know, Renaissance. You know, we actually take footsteps of Renaissance and the Greco-Roman architecture. It's between 1400 to 1700 AD. You might be knowing like what's happening in India. Yeah, we'll actually talk about that. Indian architecture. What's happening in India at that time? 300 to 600 ADs. First is the Buddhism, which is actually getting spread. You know that Asoka, the Buddhism has actually this fundamental Sangha, Buddha, So we have actually the Sangha means that people actually get together. So we actually have monasteries where people actually get together. We have these Chaitya halls, they call it. The Chaitya halls of Kali caves I have actually put up as a picture. And the Vigaras are the temples which are of people where they actually worship or actually they preach the entire thing. And we have the Janta and Ellora caves. That actually gives the glimpse of Buddhist architecture, and you have this Udayagiri caves where you can actually get this Chaitya halls and Vigaras there. The Sanchi Stupa at Bhopal, I mean that is near Bhopal. This is one of the mold. Like you can see now, it's a pyramid which is again and again coming up. This is a beautiful thing which is again and again coming up. They call this as an anda. So this is like a egg. So this like anda, and on top they have the chatris and all. You actually can look at this Sanchi Stupa and try to understand. The front one which is called as the Torana. Torana means like we put up Toranas for our festivals and all. It is that Torana, the entrance one which we actually have. So the Toranas gives a great amount of effect to the entire scene. Usually in stupas, they keep this relics, Buddha's teeth or ash or anything inside, so that it actually becomes purified and sanitized. Second, we actually have the Hindu period of architecture. We talk about Aihole. There is a beautiful temple architecture starts evolving. We can see this beautiful city called Hampi. The Hampi is the it was like full of treasures, man. It was the great Hindu architecture which was happening at the time after Chola period, between 1200 to 1000 BC. It's just because of small mistakes, the Hampi has lost. The Vijayanagara Empire lost its glory, but Hampi actually gives what is the tradition, culture, understanding of Indian architecture. It gives the carvings, it gives the beautiful sculptures, it is giving those temples and organized patterns of temples in a very well way. Hello? Am I there? Right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
right. Yes. Okay, I think this is the Aihole temple which we have. Then the Badami caves of the early temple architecture. I'm just putting it, you all note it down. This is the Pattadakal Papanada temple of the early Chalukyan architecture. Chalukyan architecture deals with lots of granites. As in Hampi is, that's a plate of Godavari where you actually find these lots of granites. They actually lived in those granite things, and they started making those beautiful city and temple. Hampi was like, it was like a London or a Paris, that time. But we lost our glory because of small mistakes. It's a good story. You actually read about Hampi and Vijayanagara, the fall of Vijayanagara Empire. When the Vijayanagara Empire's, the forces, when they came back to actually Hampi, the people never believed that Vijayanagara Empire actually lost. It took 7 days for them to understand that Vijayanagara Empire is lost, This is the story, a sad story of Indian Hindu architecture, which got diminished in a very early period. Second is the Aryan architecture or the Hindu period, which we call it. We call it the Nagara style or the Shikara style. We have three categories. One is the South Indian, two categories. One is the South Indian style of architecture. Second is the North Indian style of architecture. In North Indian style of architecture, you'll find the Shikaras which are there, the Shikaras which are there. The Lingaraja temple at Bhubaneswar, which you might have seen. It's a beautiful temple which is having a deity below. The Shikara will actually hold the deity. The Garbhagriha will be there below the Shikara. But in the case of South Indian temple architecture, that will not happen. We'll actually talk about that. The Lingaraja temple, which is there in Bhubaneswar, and the Konark temple, which we already talked about when Vijay Vinithan sir was talking about this Konark sun temple. It is actually of this is like a Ratha of sun, the Rathas of sun god is it's kind of a Ratha of sun god. This is a Konark sun temple. I have heard and I've read the stories of this Konark Sun Temple, where the sunlight actually comes with time and time because of the magnet which was attached to that. I have told about that story of magnet which has been stolen or taken out by the Portuguese, because their compass in the ship was actually rounding at the time when they were crossing Konark and the Bhubaneswar, when they were crossing Konark in Bay of Bengal. So they say that they have taken the magnet. So the magical architectural output of the temple is not there. The wheels are having so much of detail. The wheel is actually the symbol of Correa government actually. So you can see the wheel has such a detailing with the stone. Stone is actually speaking languages. See, architecture speaks. Architecture and its spaces speaks. Here we actually see a Puri Jagannatha temple, again a Shikara which is there. Then question number 2, I'm asking, Aryan style of Hindu temples are called as Nagara style, South Indian style, or Aryan style? Polling? Hello? Am I there?
Yes, sir. Polling is on.
Kyako sir, I can't see my face here.
It's a full screen must be. You're there, sir. Only 78% voted. Only 52 voted out of 66. Okay.
I think everyone is sleeping because of history classes. I think, guys, come on, wake up. Okay. Okay, Aryan style of Hindu architecture.
Yes.
That's a Nagara. Yes.
Yeah.
This is the Nagara style which they call it. Indian architecture, the Pallavas actually. Pallavas are actually not fully Dravidians. They are actually the crossbreds of Aryans and Dravidians, the Chalukyans and Dravidians. So this is rock cut architecture. Rock cut means a rock will be there. They cut that rock into a temple. That means a single rock is being cut into a temple. A lot of mountains are actually cut into temples. This is a short temple. This is the emblem of Tamil Nadu tourism. When you come to Tamil Nadu, you will find this Tamil Nadu tourism as this beautiful temple. They are called as the short temple, where they actually have done lots of detailing. We'll actually talk about it. Here we actually have the difference between the Nagara and the Vesra and the Dravida style actually. The Nagara and the Dravida style, where we actually see this beautiful Shikara. The Amalka, the round one which is there, is called as Amalka. Then they actually have the Mandapas in that. Then the Mandapas are the pillared hall. They are called as the northern style temple architecture. You can see this Amalaka, where you can actually find this beautiful Garbhagraha, or the statue of the deity, that is called as Garbhagraha. The image of the statue will be there. This is the Shikara. And in the case of Dravida style, that is Gopura style, you will see this is the Vimana. They call it Vimana when the deity is actually kept below. They call it Gopura when it is an entrance stone. So we have to identify this. There's an entrance, then they call it Gopura. When there is actually a deity which is kept below that, then they call it Vimana. That's the difference between big temple and, like Srirangam temple. We'll be talking about that. The top, they have this capstone and the kalasa on top. Then they have this mandapas. The plinth is actually raised above. The Garbhagraha is actually kept in this way. So, okay. This is the short temple and rathas of Pandavas. And we have this big temple of Tanjavur and Gangaikonda Cholapuram. The Chola architecture is the mighty architecture of Dravidian time. The Cholas almost actually ruled from the South India to the north, from to the Southeast Asia, Southeast Asia, and they were covering till Indonesia and this Bali kingdoms. Everything was under the Chola period. Though the Chola, the great Raja Chola, actually builds this beautiful temple, Pragadishwara temple at Tanjavur. This has got 190 feet of Vimana, because they call it Vimana, but it is a Gopura only. The deity is actually kept below this Vimana. It's a wonderfully carved temple out of granite. They have tested the granite from Narthamalai. This is actually built in, this. But at the same time, the Gangaikonda Cholapuram, I have done a research paper on sandstone of Gangaikonda Cholapuram. The Gangaikonda Cholapuram is actually talks about sandstone, but sandstones are not available in and around the part of Tamil Nadu. So they might have actually brought it. The son of Rajaraja Chola, the Rajendra Chola, conquers Ganges, and he brings all the stones from Ganges and the part of North India, and he builds this beautiful Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Gangaikonda Cholapuram is also called as Pragadishwara. Here, Pragadishwara temple. The big temple, when Rajendra Chola take up actually Chola kingdom, he shifts his capital and brings this Gangaikonda Cholapuram. As we can see, this is Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram in Tamil Nadu, near Chennai and near SRM University. This is the Rathas of Pallavas, which are actually created by one. So you can see the elephant also here. You just go and Google and find out what are these Rathas are about. They are called as Pandava Rathas. Okay, they are called as Pandava Rathas. They will be asking this question in Nata most of the time. show temple and rathas of Pallavas. Second is the Dravidian architecture we call Chola, Chera and Pandya architecture. So Chera architecture, as I haven't touched, but already Adiraj has done that beautiful Thiruvananthapuram Padmanabha Swami temple. So that is an example of Chera architecture. The Pandyan architecture is Srirangam Ranganatha Swami temple. Though the Srirangam Ranganatha Swami temple has history of Chola, Pandyas and everyone, even the Nayakas also. The Srirangam Ranganatha Swami has this wonderful, beautiful Gopura. But below this Gopura sits a beautiful police constable, because the deity is not sit here. This is a gateway to the entire temple city. Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, you might have heard. You have actually heard about the big, pond of Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. The pond, the mandapas, the pillared halls or the corridors are very good example of a temple which is actually a Dravidian style of temple. You can see this pyramidical kind of arrangement which is there done in this temple. This is Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, the Gopura style of temple city. This is all temple cities. In and around the temple, they will be forming Rathavidis, and they will have, this entire city actually, inside. The center of the city is the temple, and the entire temple city is getting formed. So they are called as temple city. They'll be asking in NATA questions. How space becomes an emotion or an element of emotion. From a Gopura, I actually go to a pillared hall. Pillared hall to a beautiful, pond. I wash my legs and I keep on walking, and I suddenly get into a dark room which is called as Garbhagriha. When a small light falls into the deity, it actually opens up. Then I actually say, oh my God, I had no religious connection with the entire fabric, but the temple as a whole creates a magical band of space making. This is what architecture does to people. If you take the deity out and keep it outside, the deity will not actually give that powers, but architecture gives powers to the deity, and it creates a magic in itself. This is Indian architecture. Sorry, I have written Indian Pandyan architecture. It's not Pandyan architecture. It's the Gujarati architecture or the Gujarati and Rajasthani architecture. You might have seen about this kunts and bobs in Gujarat architecture and Rajasthan architecture. As you know that, in Kutchi regions and Rajasthan, there's a shortage of water. They made these ponds out of the world. They made this wonderful, beautiful, stepped wells. The Bhavnagara, Gujarat, the Kund, which is, this question is always asked. Those small steps which are there actually acting as a temple. Here in Ranika Vav, and I just wanted to, I forgotten one thing. I wanted to actually tell you about UNESCO heritage sites also. Konark temple is a UNESCO heritage site. Big temple is a UNESCO heritage site, and Ranika Vav recently added as a UNESCO heritage site. As a conservation architect, I always actually have lots of, admiration for this beautiful Ranika Vav. Visited it so many times, and it always gives me an immense pleasure about the entire fabric, which is just a water as an integral part. It gives this beautiful ideology. Here we come to the Indian architecture, Islamic period. What happens actually? Babur comes. He is actually not Arab totally. He is a Mongol Arab actually. He comes to India in 1527. The first Panipat happens in 1527. The story of India is actually changing, because story of India is actually getting into add some green color into it, where we were actually only celebrating white and other colors. Now there is an add shade which is actually coming. The three colors are actually now, the tricolor is actually started coming. In 1527, there's the first Panipat. Babur comes in. This is the tomb of Ghayasuddin Tughlaq. Sorry, I'm really sorry. The story of Islamic architecture starts from Delhi Sultanate. That is the slave architecture, slave dynasty they call it. So Delhi Sultanate actually talks about minarets, tomb and mosque. The tomb of Ghayasuddin Tughlaq in Delhi, you can see the red sandstone and the marble which is there. You know what is a minaret? Minaret, if there is only one minaret, that means that side you have the Muslim population. If you have 4 minarets, then you have 4 sides. You can hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, I'm sorry I talked about Babur, we have to talk about Delhi Sultanate first. The Sultans, though it is a slave dynasty, that is the reason why it's a slave dynasty. This is the first of kind. They've used this red sandstone marble. You can see there is a beautiful kalasa also. They started incorporating the Hindu elements into the mosque or the tombs. There is a kalasa which you can see here. This is the Qutub Minar by Qutbuddin Aibak, he actually makes this beautiful Qutub Minar. The Minar is actually so high. The detailing which has been done so beautifully. So announce the people about the Muslim, the importance of Muslim dynasty into our Indian context. Indian architecture, Islamic architecture, we see this Delhi Sultanate with minarets, tombs, and mosque. This is the Kalan Masjid at Delhi, which you can see there are 2 minarets in the front, and the arches which are which are pointed arches which are there. You can see the idea of jalis actually started coming here. There's a beauty of Arabian architecture. You can see this jalis are actually coming there. This is the tomb of Firoz Shah Tukla. The Firoz Shah Tukla, you can see the beautiful tomb and the beautiful dome on top of it. The architecture is getting celebrated. It's actually getting moved from one place to another. The red sandstone and the marble are very favorites of the Delhi Sultanate or the people who are Islamic people. They were really actually so happy working on it. This is the Islamic architecture of Punjab region. We see this Atala Masjid at Jaunpur, the Tantripuri Masjid at Tantripura Masjid. This is a Chota Sona Masjid. All the places you can see the arches, the pointed arches. You can see the domes, onion domes, and all these things have started coming. This is the Adina Masjid. All these things you can see there is a transformation of architectural style which is getting blended with the Indian architecture, and it's creating a marvelous idea towards the wonderful buildings. This is the provincial state of Gujarat, where you can see the Teen Darwaza Ahmedabad. That means when the Ahmedabad, in all the places, now there is a city actually getting formed, because these darwazas or the gateways are always a gateway to the city. So the population of Islamic architecture, the idea of Islamic architecture is getting spread. The city as a whole is actually getting formed as a state of Islamic components are actually getting inside a city. This is the Sidi Syed Mosque. You can see this beautiful jali which has been done. This is the shaking minarets of Ahmedabad. When one shakes, other shakes. You actually find out how this is a beautiful place. Jama Masjid, the Zahas Magal and Mandu. Wonderful place, this Zagas Mazal. The Zagas means it's a ship, right? So this ship I visited this Mandu where the water is actually being brought. See, the Islamic architectural people are basically from, different parts of Arabian deserts. When they actually found this water in scarce, they used that water in a beautiful way, and they actually, created wonderful waterways. This is Zahas Mahal and Jama Masjid. This is Charminar of Hyderabad. We are actually talking about the Deccan. Hyderabad was the richest place in the world at that time, actually. This Charminar is again a gateway to Hyderabad. Charminar of Hyderabad, and myself, an architect, Annamalai, the chairman of Indian Institute of Architects, is standing. This is the Golconda Fort. It was the richest man that time was the Nawab of Hyderabad. He was having lots of money. Today also he is having money. This is the Gold Gumbaz. This is the largest dome which can be found and in Indian history architecture. You can see there is something happening here. In the minarets, there is some influence started happening with South Indian architecture and North Indian architecture, and you can see a glimpse of some temple architecture starts happening. Here, we can actually see this Ibrahim Roza's tomb. You can see this beautiful dome. The dome of Taj Mahal is actually getting erected now. So architecture is actually getting translated one by one. Here we actually come to the Islamic architecture of Mughal periods. I have said the entire India is actually been, under the influence of Islamic architecture. In 1527, first Panipat happens. The entire India is actually with the Babur. After Babur, it is Akbar. It's Humayun. After Humayun, it is Akbar. Then Jahangir. From Jahangir to Shah Jahan. And Shah Jahan to Aurangzeb, and the Mughal architecture or Mughal period actually ends. We actually take an example of Fatehpur Sikri. Here first actually Akbar started making these beautiful things with red sandstone. You can see for Akbar is actually building a beautiful tomb for his father, Humayun. This is a Humayun tomb in Delhi. You might have visited. Again, you can see a glimpse of the old Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq tomb here in this place. You can see the red sandstone. Again, in our Rashtrapati Bhavan, you will be seeing this red sandstone. This is the Humayun tomb which are there. This is the Red Fort of Agra and Taj Mahal. we'll be taking little bit more time today, actually. Like, I think you don't have any problem. I think you. So this is Taj Mahal. As you can see, Taj Mahal is the wonder in which it has been created. See, beautifully done here. What happens, now Jahangir actually married a girl called Noor Jahan. Noor Jahan is a Persian, okay? Jahangir is a beautiful, that Salim Anarkali story. Akbar actually married Jodha Bai. Jodha Bai is a Rajputana. Now, Akbar is a Mongol Arab. Then Rajputana Jodha is actually joining. Then you have the Persian, she has so much of love for Shah Jahan. The Noor Jahan has lots of love for Shah Jahan. So she actually grows Shah Jahan, like she gives her Persian ideas to Shah Jahan. So you can see Taj Mahal is translated because of Jodha. There is a Rajputana influence. They go and get this marble from, from Rajasthan and get this Taj Mahal done. Then there is a great influence of Persia because of Noor Jahan. Then actually we have the great influence of Mongol Indian architecture. There's 4 minarets which are there. They are creating an optical illusion. They are not straight, because to actually enhance the quality of the Taj Mahal, the tomb, the minarets are little, in an angular way. That is called as optical illusion. Then we actually come to the Indian architecture of Indo-Saracenic period, that is British architecture. Indo-Saracenic means it is actually following the classical idea of Muslim, Hindu, and Indian architecture. So they have actually followed everybody. This is Robert Chisholm, Charles Mund, Henry Irvine, and William Emerson. As we know, light on actually Edwin Lutyens actually Rashtrapati Bhavan, which has been done, the Capitol Complex which has been done. This is the High Court of Madras. To find out the components of Indo-Saracenic architecture, they actually talk about onion domes, they talk about arches, the bulbul, everything you actually tell. They talk about chatris, they actually go according to the principles of Indian architecture. They wanted to say, the British India wanted to say, yes, the rulers were Mughals, the rulers were actually, Hindu architectural people. Now we are actually coming in. So they blend all these 3 components and they blend their classical architecture and bring this beautiful. You can see the Sanchi Stupa here in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. In the British building designed in India are called as what? Fast. I'll be taking another 10 to 15 minutes. I'll freeze it off.
Yes. Kindly all of you poll quickly.
Polled?
Only 76% have voted, sir.
Okay, ma'am. That is Indo-Saracenic architecture. Thank you so much. It is absolutely Indo-Saracenic architecture. Next is we are actually coming to the contemporary India. Contemporary India, this is B.B. Doshi, the Balakrishna Doshi, which we are so proud of. B.B. Doshi has won his Pritzker Award also. This is IIM Bangalore and Doshi Hussain Kufa at Sept University. The Sept Ahmedabad, all these places are actually designed by Doshi. Doshi is a great architect. Was actually he was with Kabu and he was with Louis Kahn. He's a great architect who actually gave us very important architectural building. This is IIM Bangalore. You also find about Doshi. There are lots of questions asked by Doshi. This is Charles Correa. This Jawaharlal Kala Kendra at Jaipur. The wonderful ideology of using materials and courtyards and climatology is beautifully done by Charles Correa. All go and see. This is the Bharat Bhavan. I spent lots of my lifetime in Bharat Bhavan when I was a young architect, when young student studying in NIT Bhopal. This is in the lake. Then they have this Vidhan Sabha of Bhopal. The contemporary India has shown some people who are actually coming from, away and practicing in India because they like the Indian region. And this is Laurie Baker, who found this rat trap bond, and he has actually, lived with low-cost people, and he created low-cost buildings in such a way, so beautifully designed for the region. This is all done in bricks. Yeah? This is Indian coffee house. There are some residences of, like Laurie Baker. This is all done in the rat trap band. So find out about rat trap band also. This is the Gandhi. This is Nari Gandhi. He's a person actually, he's into again, beautiful Indian architecture, and he always likes, to work in the site. So some of his buildings, and Jeffrey Bawa of Sri Lanka, you see this landscape is actually getting associated with the, landscape is actually getting associated with this beautiful place. The architecture space making is differing. This is all actually called as the region oriented regionalism, we call it actually, region oriented people who have done wonderful jobs using the materials which are available on that place actually. This is modernism we actually talk about. We talk about F.L. Wright. This is Frank Lloyd Wright, is one of the fathers of or founders of modernism. You can see this falling water in Guggenheim Museum. So many times they ask this Guggenheim Museum. So make sure that you understand this Guggenheim Museum. Go Google and say what is F.L. Wright and all these people. Then we have the great man, the Louis Kahn actually, who understood the spaces very well. He designed IIM Ahmedabad. He has actually designed National Assembly of Bangladesh also. Bangladesh is full of water, so he has created this building out of water. He is Louis Kahn in the modernism. Then we have the Le Corbusier, father of modernism. Le Corbusier actually created the beautiful city called Chandigarh when in the modern India. First architectural essence was shared by Le Corbusier. In the independent India, this is the first one. A capital city is being formed, and an urban center, an architectural transformation has actually happened because of Le Corbusier. And India is very thankful to Le Corbusier for that. Then Franco Harry, you actually, find postmodernism. Go to the headings of postmodernism. You'll start knowing the people are actually making deconstructive methods, or they are actually doing something different. This is the dancing house, and this is Guggenheim Bilbao. So this is all done by the postmodern architects called Franco Gehry. Zaha Hadid is our contemporary architect. The Haidar Aliyev Center in Azerbaijan, and the Museum of 21st Century Arts and Architecture, and the Music of Rome, which is done by Zaha Hadid. Zaha is called as Queen of Curves. She makes wonderful buildings, and Zaha Hadid is no more now. Zaha Hadid architects are still working. Lots of buildings which has been built by Zaha Hadid, just find it out. This is Tado Ando. We actually talk about critical regionalism, where we actually, like the people are using different kind of materials as per the climatic understanding, as per the place in making. This is the Church of Light. You can see the light is actually piercing inside the church and creating the symbol which is really wanted for the people who are actually going to reside there. This is the art foundation which has been done again by fully exposed to concrete, is used by Tado Ando. You must know about Tado Ando. This is Shigeru Ben. Again, actually, he's using the paper, cubes or tubes to build. There is a different kind of architectural idea. I'm sorry, this is not Church of Light. This is Japanese Exhibition Pavilion, and this is Pompidou Center. This is all actually been done by Shigeru Ben using paper tubes. Paper tubes are actually used. This is a paper architecture this guy actually does. This is Hassan Fatih. Again, understanding the deserts and the desert culture. This is Marcus Correa. It actually gives it gives us the great understanding of how the desert behaves with the space making. We have this great man, Peter Zumthor. He is also a critical regionalist and a person who actually understands the entire fabric and the sustainable materials which are available in that part of the country. And this is, he actually built it for a farmer's church. So he put all the, those trees inside, and he burnt the trees. They put the concrete on top, and he burnt the trees, Then you got this beautiful texture here. This is Peter Zumthor, church in Switzerland. Thank you. Enjoy the day. Thought of the day is nothing. The whole day is full of thoughts only. You also create history as an architect, because history can only be done by architects. Architects only can translate culture, tradition, and people's richness through their buildings. So you also create history. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the marathon session. Amazing. But you have really touched upon all the points that they need to know. And maybe all of them would need to see this video once again in patience and then meditate on each of the items. But he has definitely given you a quick list of all that you need to just look up on and inform yourselves. So today We have yet another two faculty guest speakers with us. I'd first like to call upon Professor Architect Pradyumna. Professor Pradyumna is an assistant professor at SRMIST SAID. He did his bachelor's from Satyabama in 2014 and his master's from MIAC in 2018. His interest in exploring architecture as business and service and in developing strategic ideologies gave him the opportunity to do his internship at JLL, Lazar. He has worked with DN architects and the Cube architects and also taught at RVS College. Welcome, Pradyumna sir. Please give the aspirants a few words.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Thank you for the introduction, Anita, ma'am. Good morning, students. We are here to talk about this SRM School of Architecture and Interior Design and this excellent NATA coaching. SRM School of Architecture and Interior Design has eminent faculties who will guide you to the path of architectural exploration. In School of Architecture and Interior Design, the faculties will encourage you to explore various facets of design thinking, design development, and also various other creative arts and interests. In addition, you have well-furnished laboratories and 3D printing labs, which you can use for designing. SRM has student association, where students will belong to 4 houses, and there will be a house inauguration day, which will be celebrated throughout the campus. And at the end of each semester, each house will be evaluated for its contributions towards academics and explorations towards art and architecture. The only thing we expect from you guys is that unlimited interest towards architecture and creative arts. I wish good luck to one and all for the entrance exam, and I hope I could see you all on the campus after all this pandemic situation ends. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pradyumna. Thank you so very much. I now call upon our senior faculty, Professor Lakshman. He completed his bachelor's from the University of Madras in 1998 and his master's from IIT Kharagpur in 2000. He started his academic experience at MGR College and has been with SRM from 2001. He has been teaching for the past 20 years at SRM. Welcome, Lakshman sir. Can we hear from you?
Yes, madam. Thank you for the introduction. A very good morning to all of you. Welcome all the students who are aspiring.
Sir, we can't hear you properly, sir. Sir, we can't hear you.
Sir, am I audible? I mean,
Yeah, better, sir.
am I audible? Yes.
Yes.
Very good morning to all of you. Welcome all the students who are aspiring to be architects. Alexis Carrel, Nobel laureate, said, "Every newborn child is a genius, only to be converted into an idiot in school." Of course, I mean, this present day education, what we have is the left out of British era, which prepares one to be a clerk. So what happens is, in school we are taught A for apple. So now we need to redefine the system of education, as the education need to be flexible. I hope you might have heard about the philosopher J. Krishnamurti, the school in Chennai. So there they ensure that the students' creativity is triggered, they think on their own and be on their own. So that is why the students from this school are very unique and they ask questions. When some assignment is given to them, when something is taught, they question. So this should be the attitude. Who is a good teacher? A good teacher is a good student. So true teacher is like a midwife. I don't know, many of you might not have heard about this term midwife. Midwife is a nurse. Okay, she stands by the side of the pregnant mother in pain, coaxing her, cajoling her, sympathizing with her, empathizing with her. But who delivers? The mother delivers. So in class, who delivers? The teacher? No. The teacher, should not deliver. So what is education? The word educe in Latin means bring out or deliver the best in a man or woman. So teaching is trying to get best out of the student, and this is what we try to do in SRM. Please remember, nobody can teach anybody what he or she doesn't know. Everybody is unique and has the potential to realize that they know it. Everybody has the potential, equal opportunity to learn. Please remember. So only thing is to bring out that the effort might vary. So this is what we try to do in SRM. I hope many of other faculty members would have also told that SRM has excellent infrastructure in terms of teachers, in terms of laboratory facilities, and we have a very excellent association. And what we looking for is all-round development. And we have a semester abroad program where students can spend one whole semester in a university abroad. And we have tie-up with New Jersey Institute of Technology, MIT, NUS. Already many of the students have, undergone this SAP. And we facilitate a lot of interaction with architects. And practicing architects are also a part of the regular design studio. And we organize a lot of events. And every year, of course, once in 3 to 4 years, we organize a national or regional event, say in the name of annual NASA convention or zonal convention. And of course, university, you might know that it is a university with a lot of accolades, ranking and rating. Now, the purpose of education is not only to get a degree or to give a degree, and not only to prepare you for a wealthy career, but to create healthy minds, to do good to the society, to be a good human being. Okay. So, what is the measure? It is enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to be compassionate is what ultimately we aim at. And I would like to touch upon 2 points which are the myths about creativity or being an architect. Because normally whenever students come to me, interact with me, so they have these 2 doubts. I am not a creative person, or I am not just born creative. And to explain why this is so wrong, let's just take a look at the world of sports. For example, when we watch world-class athletes at Olympics, we kind of intuitively understand all the years and decades of hard work and training that went into this big performance. Because it's not just common sense. If you work hard, we get stronger, we get faster. But on the other hand, when we watch a creative person at work just bursting with ideas, it seems to us as if almost like a magic. And then we say, well, this person is sort of lucky to be born so creative. But here is the big news for you. People are not born creative. People become creative. And the same way, we can train our bodies to get stronger and faster. In athletes, we can train our brains to be more creative. This holds good for any creative profession. And the next myth is, I don't know how to draw. And actually, this is something that many people told me, and I usually tell them, that's not really important. Drawing or even using software, these are all just tools. But being a designer, being an architect is about the state of mind, not the tools you use. And the tools you just get to learn all along the way. So don't worry about the skills right now. And so now, if you ask me, well then, I don't need skills, I don't need talent. What do I need to become a designer? And I would say that for a starter, you just need to have curiosity. Curiosity about the world and the way world is and the way the world could be. So if you have the curiosity, I am sure you will make a really good designer. You can be successful if you are passionate of what you are doing. So for example, Tendulkar is what he is today. It is because his passion is cricket, and for A.R. Rahman it is music. And if they are forced by the environment or forced by their parents to, for example, Tendulkar to become a musician or A.R. Rahman to be a cricketer, it would have been a failure. Okay? So follow your passion, success will follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lakshmanan sir. Thank you for sharing the essence from your long experience and for sharing info on how to be success. Thank you so much. And thank you all aspirants for having been patient for the little extra time that we took this today. We should meet again today evening 6 o'clock sharp. Thank you so very much, all of you. Have a wonderful day. And let us meet again with energy and keep sharing all your energetic words so that it can actually energize us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.